Surreal, just to see him, joining the squad, joining the family, because that's the way we look at this. It's a surreal feeling, and I'm excited for him. He's happy with this decision. Like he said, he wanted to make his decision as a man, a decision for himself, and I'm happy he had the opportunity to do that. I'm happy that we were the team that he chose to be with, and I'm looking forward to getting out on the floor with him.
Kevin is a great passer, and he didn't come here to score 35 a game. He came here to play with the four guys that went to New York to recruit him. That was the main pitch, was just those guys. And they all like to pass. They all love to play the game. They play it in a style that includes everyone. And we think Kevin will fit right into that.
All right, Steve, let's start with the easy one. How relieved are you that the process is over on Kevin Durant?
Well, we just found out a couple of days ago. So, we're obviously thrilled, and it's almost surreal, that he's on our team. So we couldn't be more excited.
In the meeting, what was your pitch to him? What did you want him to know about your style?
I just showed him some of our offensive clips on the screen. Talked about how he would possibly fit into our offense, how he would fit with his teammates. And the biggest thing was nothing that I said or Bob said or Joe said. It was all about our players. I mean, the four of them did a phenomenal job kind of showing KD who they are and how he would fit in.
How much confidence did your group have going into that meeting?
I thought maybe we had about a 50-50 shot. I thought there was a reason that he wanted to entertain offers. He was obviously considering leaving. And I felt that out of all the teams that were in the running, I thought we had the most to offer. So I thought, maybe we got a 50-50 shot here. And if he didn't come here, I think he would have gone back to Oklahoma City. That was my thinking. But, I give a lot of credit to Kevin. He made a decision that is, as he said, not going to be that popular among the critics. But he made the decision for himself, and that's important.
Aside from showing him clips, I'm sure you've sat back and started to think with your coaches best ways to use him, or even just having fun with it. What ways do you think that you can most exploit his gifts?
Well, I think the beauty of it is that he should just fit right into what we already do, because he's a great passer, a great cutter. He sees the game, he sees the floor, and we already have a lot of guys like that, but we don't have any that are 6'10". So he just fits right in with the group, and there are a lot of ways to use him. Obviously, he's such a talented player. He can score from anywhere on the floor, and he'll make our jobs a lot easier, that's for sure.
In the 7-game playoff that you had, in which you had a game plan against him, what more did you learn about him? How tough was it to have to do it 7 different games to try to find a way to defend him? Biggest
thing we learned was how good of a defender he is. We knew everything about him offensively. People have been trying to guard him for 9 years, and so there wasn't anything.
And they've come up short on that end?
They've come up short. So no surprises in terms of his offensive game, but watching him defend, watching the way he really took us out of a lot of things we wanted to do with his length and speed, quickness, is really, really eye-opening, and we're excited because we know that he'll fit right into what we like to do defensively as well.
Not only fit in, do you feel you guys have an opportunity to be a different version of better defensively with what his gifts are?
We're going to miss Andrew Bogut at the rim, and probably Festus Ezeli. He hasn't signed anywhere yet, but it's looking like he'll be elsewhere. So. We're not going to have that shot blocking at the rim with our 5s, but we will have more length at the 3 and the 4 when Kevin plays there, and we'll have a lot of speed and quickness, and so we'll be able to disrupt people. But we'll miss some of the things we already possessed, and we've got to make that adjustment.
As you add a 4-time scoring champ to a 73-win team, and the core of that group anyway, how much attention are you getting from veterans in this league who do want to win a championship?
Well, we've already been able to sign a couple of key guys with Zaza Pachulia and David West, both really good, strong veteran players who can make a big impact. And so it's one of the benefits of putting together a team like this. You're gonna find some vets who want to join the fray. So it's we still have some work to do. We're trying to fill out the rest of the roster, but we're excited about what's happening.
The whole process, how much did it take out of the basketball side? You guys had to invest a lot of emotional capital into this venture.
It's tough. It's tough to say goodbye to players, and that's the case every year. No team stays the same. You know, last year we won the title, but we lost David Lee and Justin Holiday, and that was difficult. And you know, this year we're going to lose a lot. We've already lost Barbosa, Bogut, Harrison Barnes, Brandon Rush. Those guys were huge for us, and then there are several other free agents that we're sort of waiting on, guys who have been a big part of what we've done the last couple of years. So it's never easy. It is emotional. You build these relationships, and as I said up there, you know, just as Kevin's going to miss his people in OKC, we're going to miss our guys who have been suiting up for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I thought it was very classy during the end of this press conference. You named 5 different individuals who helped you win a championship, and you said helped you build what you wanted to do here. Why was that so important for you to make sure you had that message out there today?
Because I think everything that we try to do here as an organization is to create a family environment where everybody is happy, and those guys were happy, and we were happy with them. They helped us win a championship. They helped us win 73. But as we know in this business, it's very transient. People move on, whether it's by their own volition or through a trade. So it's never easy. But this in particular is a tough one because of the success we've had and the impact that those guys made. And I just felt like it was necessary to say that. And
when we talked to Kevin Durant, Kevin said when he got the phone call from Jerry West, I got him to admit that there was a moment there when he thought, let it go to voicemail. He thought it was kind of funny, actually. And they said, no, it's the logo. I have to answer this. So that made some sense. Was there a funny moment that happened in your meeting, or was it all business at a board table?
Well, there were several funny moments, several of them, including Klay Thompson. Klay's sneaky funny. And Kevin, as you saw at the press conference, is very witty. So there were a lot of good light moments as well. But all in all, something obviously clicked. And again, I think it was our players, the 4 guys who came along. I thought they got the job done, and pretty impressive.
And as we wrap things up here, the expectations clearly get even higher. You win a championship, you win 73 games and lose in Game 7. I think people will say it's championship or bust. How much do you like being in that role where there is so much expected of you?
It's a lot better than the alternative. Yeah. You know, you always want to have a chance. You want to have talent, and part of the deal is that if you have that, then you're going to be under scrutiny. So we welcome that. It's fine. It's all part of the circumstances. And you know, even though we didn't win last year, it was a remarkable season, 73 wins. We'd like to do better, but no guarantees in life. So we're just going to do our best and see what happens.
How relieved are you now that this process is over and you do have Kevin Durant on the Warrior roster?
I mean, I don't know the right words, Jim. I from the moment he said yes, which was Monday morning, until he signed his contract, which was about an hour and a half ago, my mind was thinking about all the things that could go wrong. But spending time with him, I flew to see him in the New York area on Tuesday. Got there late Tuesday night. Got to see him after he made the decision, spend a few hours with him, and then yesterday ate lunch with him and flew back with him today. And so I knew he was happy, and that's what I most wanted. It's hard to get to know someone over the phone. It's almost impossible. And in the meeting, he was very kind of reserved and quiet. So when I got out there, he had said yes, and I got a chance to interact with him. And you know, it's just exciting. I'm excited, obviously, for our team, but I'm excited for our community. They are going to love not watching him play basketball. They're going to love that, but they're going to love to get to know him as a person. He's a real joy to get to know.
We know the stories of him on the floor and the greatness that he brings to a team, and we can hear about how he's a better defender than people think that he might be. But what did you learn about him outside of basketball in that process? Because I think that's what's most interesting in the brief time I had a chance to talk with him, that he's certainly a thoughtful young man.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. You're right, thoughtful is a very good word to describe him, but he has this kind of deep love for basketball. It's not surface level, but also a simplicity to it. He doesn't want to be anything more than a person that goes out and plays as hard as they can with people he wants to do it with. So I learned from being with him that it's not all about trying to be anything or a superstar. And I think that's what he identified with Steph. And that I just want to have fun. I want to play basketball. I want to win. And I want to do something I feel good about doing. And I think that's how he made his decision. But to see him, interact with him, what I saw was an authenticity, a sincerity. Saw him interact with his family, with his father, with his agents, with Rich Kleiman, with his manager, Charlie Bell, and just a really decent person. For somebody of his stature, I was with him at lunch, and people were coming up to ask for pictures and autographs. You can learn a lot about somebody in those moments, right? How they respond to being interrupted while eating, and that you probably know. I mean, not everybody's
I've
classy.
seen you interrupted. Yes, I do know.
You've seen how I act.
I see how you act. That's
completely
the key.
Inappropriately. I'm eating. No, but he. Just to see the fact that he enjoys interacting with his fans, he cares about people, he treats people well. Those are things you can't see through the TV. But when you're at lunch with somebody and there's no cameras and you're just having a conversation with him and his people, that's when you get to know someone. And it was genuinely a lot of fun. I knew that if I got to see him for the last couple of days, I knew when he got here, the community, everybody will envelop him. And so it was a chance to kind of get to know him before things got pretty crazy.
I hear you tell the story of flying back to spend time with him, and it makes me go back to when Steve Kerr took the job as the head coach, and one of the first things he did was, I think you probably had to buy him a bunch of plane tickets, right? All over the world, it seemed. He was going to meet individually with guys. Why is that so important in the Warrior process, that you guys somehow, before there's a basketball bounced once, and before you talk about X's and O's, that somehow you try to get a connection?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. And Steve was obviously great at that with our players, and I think that helped us win a championship in his first year. But seeing our players, or anybody, when you work with someone, you usually only know them at work, right? You have conversations at work, you may go to lunch at work, but how often do you go to their house? Or how often do you go to a neutral place? And I feel like for our players, when you interact with them in areas that aren't common, right? It's easy to sit on the sidelines here after practice. That's not the same as going across the country to see someone or going over to their house. It's a different environment. So just being in that is helpful to kind of cut through all the basketball stuff. And then the other reason, Jim, would be things are going to get hard. I promise you, as great a guy as Kevin Durant is, he's going to get frustrated with us at some point, right? Or a teammate or a coach or me. And you need to have some equity in that relationship before that moment happens, because if you do and you feel good about each other and you know where each other's coming from, you can overcome those moments that are difficult. Just like a team, adversity in sports happens to the best teams, and you have to then be ready to confront it and respect each other and have hard conversations. So the more work you put in before the adversity comes, the better chance you have to succeed when it does come.
Your most recent interaction with him outside of this was in the 7-game playoff that you had against him and the Oklahoma City Thunder. In that 7-game playoff, and I know you understand what a great player he was, what more did you learn, or what did you take away from that 7-game playoff in which you watched him on a regular basis and watched Steve and his crew try to figure out a way to do something with him?
Well, I saw a couple things, Jim. I saw what an amazing competitor he is. I saw that he, that whole team, not just him, the whole Thunder team, competed at the highest level. And I saw his ability to raise his game up, and then also defensively. I saw an effort defensively that he's able to show that was tremendous. I mean, on ball, off ball, blocking shots, his length. So there's all these things. When you play someone in the series, you see them in a different light. You see, for them, we saw them 7 times up close. You don't ever do that in the regular. You don't play a team 7 times in a row. We did that with the Cavs. We did that with the Thunder. You get to know them in a much more intimate way as far as what's great about them, what isn't, what are they good at, how do they respond to winning, how do they respond to losing, how do they interact with their coach, how do they interact with the crowd, how do they interact with the opposing team, the referees. What I saw from him was a guy that loved to play basketball, loved to compete, was gracious in victory and defeat. And so all those things are what you look for when you want to add someone. I just never thought we would ever be able to add someone of his stature. It is by far the most, I'm not sure what the right word is, but the thing that I thought was least likely to happen to this team. Steph was drafted before me by Larry Riley. I was part of drafting Clay. We drafted Draymond, Harrison. We traded for Andre. This watershed moment I never envisioned happening. To add a free agent of his stature is a very, very rare thing in our league.
How confident were you when you had that meeting with him back in New York?
Not very confident. You know why? You just interviewed him. He's very quiet, and I sensed that he was interested in us. I sensed he had a lot of questions, but he wasn't that forthcoming. He was inquisitive. He asked our players. The players interacted. They went off and interacted on their own, which we thought was important to see how they clicked and got along. I felt like he respected us. I felt like he didn't have anything to say against us, but I did not know with any belief that he was thinking about coming, that he would actually do it. I thought he might consider it, but I'm sure he considered it with every team he met with. He met with some really good organizations, some great people. And until he called on Monday morning and told me he was coming, I was fully prepared. I had a speech prepared for a no answer. I did not have one prepared for a yes. I kind of stumbled over my words when he said, I'm coming. I was fully prepared to say, Kevin, thank you for the opportunity and considering us, and good luck in the rest of your career. I had that down. I did not have the other part down, so it was kind of a yell and a scream, and I probably did a bad job of it, but look, he's here, and we're lucky.
It seemed to work out. Yeah. It's everything beforehand. Don't worry
about
it.
After I fumbled
right?
It was like a guy that doesn't know how to celebrate. It was weak.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. You can learn to celebrate on that.
You're right.
We understand this is Kevin Durant's day, and it should be, but because of this decision, there are spinoffs.
Yeah.
You have to fill out a roster.
Yeah.
How close are you to filling out that roster, and how many calls are you getting from veterans who might be willing to take a little less because they know how competitive you will be for a championship?
Well, we still need to add probably 2 or 3, 4 guys, and so that's important. We were very good with our bench the last few years, and you realize how important that is to get through the regular season, and even in the playoffs, you need guys to step up. We are in a position where players are willing to take less. It doesn't mean they have to. We were saddened to see Barbosa go. We couldn't compete with that. We're very happy that he's getting compensated at a level we couldn't compete with. But yeah, we have a job to do. It's not going to be easy. You can't have a perfect team, but adding Kevin Durant, you kind of roll with the punches after that and do your best.
All right, Kevin Durant, let's start with the easy one. Why the Golden State Warriors for you?
I just felt like the fit was perfect. I felt like the guys complimented each other, and I feel like I compliment their games as well. And, you know, the change of something that I was looking forward to the challenge of. And, you know, this is the best team I could you know, take on that challenge with. You know, guys that were hungry, who had a great regular season, but didn't finish off the job. And I could tell that they were upset about it. And, you know, I just wanted to be a part of that.
I know you've had a lot of great accolades throughout your career. How can they make you a better player?
I just think just pushing me, you know, guys that, you know, on the same level as me, that want the same things. And, you know, I feel like they could just push me to be the better player. I think any player that I've played with so far has made me better. Just a new set of guys, I think that can help me grow my game.
You know, in the Players Tribune, you wrote about searching growth as a man.
Yeah.
Can you define that now that you've made this move officially?
I just felt it was time for me to make decisions based on how I felt. You know, opposed to making them based on how everyone else felt. And I think that was a huge step for me personally. That's a whole nother story we'll talk about down the line. But I just felt that it was important for me to really be open-minded and really listen to these guys and to everybody who came and talked to me. But I felt like they stood out the most because they were so real and honest and genuine. And, you know, as far as my growth as a person, you know, not worrying about what everybody else on the outside says, I think that's the next step for me to just block all that noise out and just, you know, get back to just playing pure, fun basketball. When
you think of the basketball side of this and you put the pieces together, what do you see? How do you make them a 73-win team? How do you make them better?
I felt like I said, they felt like something was missing. After they lost the, you know, championship, I felt like a part of them, you know, left, you know, when they lost that championship. After a historic year, great year, you know, so many great accolades, you know, for these guys. I felt like they had a part of them missing because they didn't win the title. And, you know, 73 wins is great. It's something that doesn't come around too often. But that wasn't their championship. And I can tell, you know, the moment I met all of those guys from Mr. Lake up to Bob to Coach Kerr and the rest of the guys, you know, I just felt like that wasn't satisfying to them. They didn't care about 73 wins. That's for everybody else, and they wanted it. They wanted the title, and I felt that hunger.
A lot of people want to know about the meeting and how it went about with Coach Kerr, Bob Myers, Joe Lacob. Let's use that portion of the meeting. What did you like about that? What was their message to you?
Well, you know, they said, first of all, they wanted me. You know, this is a mutual interest. It wasn't that it wasn't like I came banging on the door and said, "Bob, please sign me." I was intrigued about how they played the game of basketball. I thought it was too good to be true how well they liked each other, and so they really didn't have to pitch me. They didn't pitch me. They just told me how things work in the organization, and how things flow here, and how everybody, moves as a family. And I felt that energy, and I felt that vibe, and it was something I felt like that was pulling me towards it, And I wanted to try that feeling out. I wanted to test that instinct out and see if it really works. And we don't know. Today is the first day of it all, so I don't know how it's going to be, but I'm willing to take that chance.
And you had that phone conversation with Jerry West.
Yeah.
What questions did you have for him?
Well, he talked a lot about how I could fit in and how these guys are selfless and how they didn't care about who's the guy who gets the headlines. It's all about enjoying each other and playing to win and playing for one another, and I felt that.
Did you think about did you see his call come in and you go, I'm going to let it go to voicemail?
No, I
Come
didn't.
on, tell me. At one point you thought, I'm going to let it go to voicemail.
You know what? I actually did think about I was like, man, I didn't talk to so many people at this point, man, but it was a logo. If it was anybody else in the organization, maybe I would have been like, all right, I'll talk to you guys a little later. But it was the logo. I had to, I wanted to learn some knowledge from him as well. We just didn't talk about the Warriors. We just talked about basketball as well. And, asked him a couple times about his experiences as a player so long ago and how he approaches being, a huge basketball figure. He's one of the greatest basketball minds in the history of our game. So to pick his brain a little bit was impressive. He was impressive, and it was fun to get to know him a little bit.
How did your group and your family help you go through this process and make a decision?
Well, it just told me what to factor in. We looked at the pros and cons of each situation, and I didn't want to make a decision, because I didn't want people to be mad at me, and I didn't think that was fair to myself. And I wanted to be fair to me. I wanted to think about me, and I wanted to, kind of, see where I can go with this as far as, all right, I wrap my mind around maybe I can move on and go to another team. And they just gave me confidence to think that way, and it's hard when you got so many people looking up to you, counting on you, and expecting you to do certain things. And they told me to just follow my heart, follow my gut, and that's what I did.
How did your relationship with Steph Curry develop? Where did it start? How has it grown?
Well, in 2010, playing on a world team in Turkey, in Istanbul, I always admired just the way he moved, the way he approached the game, the way he loved the game, and the way he approached his teammates. It was no ego involved, and it drew me to him. Him and Dre that summer, and we was kind of together all the time. We were either found our way to eat at the same table or go shoot at the same court, go to chapel. It just felt like that relationship was just so natural, and it felt good to be around great people like that. And so just knowing him and following his career since then, he's made himself into a heck of a player and someone I'm enjoy playing with.
This will be quite a transformative summer, the summer of 2016, when you look back at your life. Yeah. You make a big professional decision. You'll also be a big part of the Olympic process. How important is that process to you and your growth, being one of the faces of the Olympic team?
Oh, man, my life has changed. July 4th, 2016, my life changed. It's nothing bad, or it's nothing bad about it at all. Just the attention that comes with this whole deal changed my life a bit, and the decision I made obviously changed my life. So that was different, and that was unexpected. But to be the face, I wouldn't say the face, because we all do it together.
But face, you'll be one of them.
To be a face on an Olympic team, represent your country, man, it's just an amazing honor, and I'm looking forward to getting down to Rio and trying to win another gold medal, especially with two of my new teammates.
Before you go to Rio, you have a couple of practice games, and one of them happens to be in Oakland. Did you realize that?
How ironic is that, right?
Yeah, I know. Are you looking forward to that? What are you looking forward to doing, stepping on that floor, knowing that is your future home?
Yeah, just knowing I'm playing in front of my home fans now. It's gonna be it's different. Like walking in here and flying in here and landing in Oakland, and it's a whole different feel. I don't even know what to think. So I'm sure once they call my name, for that USA exhibition game, I don't even know what to think right now. I'm just looking forward to whatever happens.
I want to circle back as we get ready to wrap this up. I want to circle back to the question I asked from the Players Tribune, where you said you're searching for growth as a man. How has this process helped you come closer to that answer of finding out that search that you want to have? It's
so fulfilling doing something that you want to do, and considering yourself first. I come from a family where we all we relied on is each other, and making it to this point, I've supported my family so much, and for them to support me and really force me to think about what I wanted deep down inside, it's refreshing to know I have such great people around me, and so I made this decision. Which I didn't think I would make coming into this thing, but I made this decision that I knew everybody would hate it. I knew everybody would look at me different as a basketball player, and it was hard to wrap my mind around that, because that's why I play the game. I want my peers to respect me. I want the greats to respect me. I want fans to respect what I do, and I know that's diminished a bit, and I know that they won't never look at me the same, and that's the hard part for me, because I care about that stuff. Basketball is my life, and I want to be respected on the court. But I knew that I couldn't consider that, because that would be cheating myself, and that would be selling myself short. So I thought about what I wanted to do, and